A former court assistant has alleged sexual harassment by Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi. In an open court hearing on Saturday, the Chief Justice said the allegations were a plot and a threat to judicial independence.
It's not for me to say whether the allegations are true or false. A competent authority will decide on those issues. However, it really is very disturbing that the Chief Justice of India and his two brother judges took suo motu notice of those letters and affidavits and held a hearing on a Saturday morning. I'm alarmed by the fact that he was sitting on the bench himself and used that platform to make several statements which he could well have made in a press release or at a press conference. I'm also a bit surprised by the fact that he chose those two particular judges to sit with him. One, of course, being Justice Sanjeev Khanna, who is one of the junior-most judges of the court and who, as we all know, leapfrogged over 33 other judges senior to him to the Supreme Court, and Justice Arun Mishra. I do not understand why the five senior-most judges of the court were not sitting, barring, of course, the Chief Justice himself. So my concern is with due process of law.
The Supreme Court itself devised guidelines to address sexual harassment in the workplace. That landmark Vishakha judgment became the basis of a new law. The court also has its own guidelines to deal with such complaints.
Well, at the outset, I must tell you that in matters relating to sexual harassment at the workplace, the Attorney General for India is supposed to represent the public interest. And as you mentioned, the law relating to sexual harassment, the policy of the law is that employers need to stand by the victim, by the survivor, the person who alleges sexual harassment. It is their duty to stand by the survivor making the complaint, and then due process of law is triggered. So this is the first point I'd like to make. How come the Attorney General for India was present in court and did not defend the public interest? Rather, I found the attempt was to defend the Supreme Court of India. Secondly, the Solicitor General of India is certainly a representative of the government of India. I do not understand what the government of India has to do with this case. It's a matter between the survivor and the Chief Justice of India. And as I said, a competent authority must decide whether the allegations are true or false. So the entire hearing that took place this morning is wrapped up in a bit of mystery as far as I am concerned, and due process has been given a go-by.
But can any of these laws or guidelines be applied to sitting judges or even the Chief Justice?
It's an extraordinary situation. Allegations against the Chief Justice of India don't really have an appropriate remedy in law. A prosecution will not lie unless sanction is given by the Chief Justice of India, which in the facts of this case would be absurd to expect the Chief Justice of India to give sanction to prosecute. An inquiry, in order to enhance the credibility of the Supreme Court, an inquiry, which is a very high-level inquiry, would need to be conducted. And again, it's not my place to advise the Chief Justice of India, but I think it is a high-level inquiry which will actually, reinstate the credibility of the institution and the Chief Justice of India.
Can sitting or retired judges be expected to be objective and impartial in deciding on such allegations against a peer?
As I did tell you, it's a very extraordinary situation, and extraordinary situations require people of very high credibility. So the only criteria that I can mention to you is that whoever is selected to be on the high power committee has to be a person, an individual of very, very high credibility, acceptable to all concerned.
14 months ago, it was an unprecedented press conference by 4 sitting judges. Now, sexual harassment allegations against the highest judicial office in the country. Controversy won't leave the Supreme Court alone.
Well, you know, the courts can only reflect what's going on in the country as a whole. I do not think that what we are seeing in the Supreme Court is specific to the court. We see it all over the country. The kind of polarization that has taken place in the country, it's just reflecting in the Supreme Court. The general degeneration of values that you see in public life is reflecting in the Supreme Court. So let's not isolate the Supreme Court of India. Let's understand that as a nation, we have gone wrong somewhere. And it's time to stop at this point of thing and clean up our own house. We have to look within.